All right, let's hear it, Tampa Bay.
The hottest city in America. It makes you absolutely world class. A national map of sustainable communities.
It all starts in Tampa.
This is the stuff that makes Tampa the place you want to live.
For the win. Ooh, no, I'm speaking about this. Good evening. My name is Daniel, and I teach visionaries to become revolutionaries at the entrepreneurship program at USF St. Petersburg. And tonight I present for your consideration Stephen Sondheim, actually. He wrote the lyrics to West Side Story at age 25, and by the time I discovered him in 1990, he was 50, and in just half his life to date, had won 6 Grammys, 6 Tonys, 6 Drama Desk Awards, 3 Laurence Olivier Awards, an Academy Award, a Pulitzer Prize in Drama, and had convinced young Jonathan Larson to write what would become the international phenomenon Rent. At 24, however, Sondheim was an utter unknown. Staff television writer at the time, he sprang seemingly out of nowhere to become what the New York Times calls the greatest and perhaps best known artist in American musical theater. His story, as in many others we could study, follows a similar pattern. And yes, it's a pattern that you can follow on your path to fulfilling your destiny. You, the visionary, you, the revolutionary. It will not be easy. Life really is as Nicholas Klein described it, and I'll paraphrase. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. You will toil in anonymity, and it will build character. You will face distractors, and they will be wrong. It's not their fault. People's perception of risk is all messed up. We drive every day, and most of us will never skydive, even if we are 31 times more likely to die driving. Why? Because our cultural perception of safe is broken. Calling something risky because it might fail is like calling medicine a bad profession because people die. Stuff happens and life's a witch. So we attempt to explain this away with logical thinking, but the problem is even our perception of rational is irrational. When you tell folks what you're up to, they may not get it and they'll be wrong because they can't do what you do and they don't see what you see. Albert Einstein said insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting different results. A completely sensible overview of rational and irrational, right? Except Al was stating the exact correct definition of the wrong word. He was defining persistence. I assure you, visionaries, you are not insane. You are persistent. Sondheim wrote 10 musicals prior to the debut of West Side Story, from By George at 15, which his mentor Oscar Hammerstein II called the worst thing he'd ever seen, to an as-yet unproduced The Last Resorts. A string of 10 straight unsuccessful musicals that is irrational to most people and completely okay because you and you alone are the hero of our journey. If you've not yet had an opportunity to watch Dave Grohl's keynote at South by Southwest, you really should. He speaks of his own journey in life and music, winding through his rich history with Nirvana, Foo Fighters, and Sound City. Most importantly, he speaks about how his attorney assured him that the musician comes first, no matter what. And I'm here to tell you in a similar capacity, the visionary comes first. Why? Because you should always secure your own oxygen mask and then assist the person next to you. Because you are the responsible adult, because your vision lives and dies with you. The visionary comes first. Has to. It's you for the win. You only have one shot. Yes, I know you have several great ideas and you have several shots. But isn't that a bit like knowing you're going to eat a lot of meals and say, well, the next meal is going to be the best word of my life? Focus. Make this one count. Don't take it for granted. And here's how. Step 1, have a killer vision, then lose the map. You may have brass balls, but you don't have a crystal one. Run, unbridled, without the restriction of having to know the exact path. Just know your vision and follow your heart like Sondheim. Step 2, kill the whole working for yourself fallacy. Business owners are paid at the bottom of the P&L, entrepreneurs cash out at exit, and trophies are given at the end of the season. You in fact don't work for yourself, you work for your vision. Sondheim is a legend today only after having devoted his life to his craft. Step 3, and seriously, take a moment and ask yourself, are you enabling the vision or are you simply enabling yourself? Sondheim toiled for 10 years before he had a hit. 10 years of enabling his vision before himself. It is hard, it is uncomfortable, and it may even be risky. Good news is there's a safety net. Simply surround yourself with awesome people. People who get you, people who support you no matter what. And finding your tribe is important because trouble doesn't exist where you think it does. And one day, or every day, you'll need help. But you already knew that, didn't you? Heck, you're here, and you are surrounded by awesome people. Those who allow us to take more calculated, rational risks, the kind that others just don't understand. And all this stuff is trouble, but the good kind. And if you're not in trouble somehow, you're just not taking enough risk. One of my favorite quotes comes from Peter Drucker. People who don't take risks generally make 2 big mistakes a year. People who do take risks generally make 2 big mistakes a year. So take them, even if irrational to others at the time. Visionary Leonard Bernstein, who actually hired our friend Sondheim to work with him on West Side Story, tells us to achieve greatness, two things are needed. A plan, not quite enough time. Since there's never enough time, start now. Get a vision, be persistent, let's get to work. It's you, revolutionaries, for the win.